a season we had, right?
Just jaw-dropping.
Oh, my goodness! Inside the park home run! Electrifying!
Leave a legacy. A good difference I can't bring me. I'm a legend, never ever made me. A supernova with an aint.
History number 300! You are unbelievable! Shohei Ohtani starts the 50-50 club! That's insane!
A supernova with an I'm coming with it, yo.
A walk-off home run! Put it in the box!
Incredible. Well, it's been an unbelievable season.
I love Mickey.
Mickey who?
You know who, the fellow with the celebrated swing. Oh, I love Mickey.
Mickey who?
You know who, the one who drives me batty every spring. If I don't make a hit with him, my heart will break in two. I wish that I could catch him and pitch a little woo. I love Mickey.
Mickey who?
Mickey you.
Mickey me.
And that's who. I love Mickey.
Mickey who?
You know who, his muscles are a mighty sight to see. Oh, I love Mickey.
Mickey who?
You know who, the one I want to steal right home with me. Oh, I'd sacrifice most anything to win his many charms. I'd like to be a fly ball and hop right in his arms. Oh, I love Mickey.
Mickey who?
Mickey Mantle. I love you.
Who, me?
Ooh, I love you.
Not Yogi Berra?
Ooh, I love you. Mickey!
There are two kinds of people in this world. Those who love Old Bay and those who've never tried it. Because once you taste this Chesapeake Bay seasoning, you'll immediately be turned into a canvert. Old Bay goes great on seafood, chicken, corn on the cob, french fries, pretty much anything. Join the Legion of Canverts in America. Pick up a can today. And before you know it, this could be you. Old Bay, the can that connects us.
35 years ago, this month, Don Larson pitched his perfect game in the 1956 World Series. And you hit a home run in that game and saved the perfect game with a great running catch. What do you remember about that day?
Well, I remember that catch because I didn't make that many great catches, but I do remember that one.
Here's the pitch coming to him. Swings on this one. Drives one deep in the left center field. Mickey Mantle going back for it. Still going back. He reaches up and grabs it.
That was one of the biggest thrills I've ever had playing in that game. And I was nervous playing center field. You know, you hear guys saying, just let them hit it to me, you know. I was hoping they didn't hit it to me. Another thing I remember about Magley pitched a great game in that series, in that game. I don't think we got over 3 or 4 hits off him. I hit a home run, I think, about the 5th inning.
Magley feeds the 2-2 delivery to Mantle. There's a swing and a drive in the right field, and that is a home run for Mickey Mantle.
I think we beat him 2-0.
The next 2-2. Davis to left and will hit. Oh my! It's gone! Santa Maria!
From high atop the Robinson Gearing Studio Complex in straight out of God's country, Pawleys Island, South Carolina. The Let's Talk Baseball Podcast Network proudly presents Backwards K Pod. And now, here's the host of the show, Jake Robinson.
I never move in slow-mo. Welcome to my dojo. There's other classes so chill like bro, yo. Focus like a GoPro. Ripping up this promo. Check out the school bull freaks. I'm knowing no, it's going. Yo, it's going. Your heart just stopped. Cause Jake got strong and mighty. Undefeated, I mean it. Pull up the pots, pull it down, then read it. Written, produced, directed, and mixed. Tongue on your lips and eyes and spit backflips. Pick a tip, any tip, get onto it. I got ridiculous spots without pausing it. You sit at home crying like a girl while I spread the gospel around the world. Yo, the pots are written behind tracks that mix it smooth with the groove to make ears wanna listen. Add a little cut and a rhythm to back it up. Another show to my name, now watch me stack them up. You think another like Brad back, but this ain't no ad cat. My hobby's to rhyme, some people try to be black, but that's time to come out. Call the show BKP, now let me turn it out. Yo, name Jake the State, born in 71. Date, you know what time it is, I'm packing guns. Your experience, I've been a witness to glory, and that's why I collect ball players and their stories. You heard? So, once again, back is the incredible, the pod animal, Jake the Snake Robinson from the Let's Talk Baseball Podcast Network. I'm coming out of Pawleys Island, South Kakalaki, half man, half podcast machine, back in the Captain Kirk Cheer, shields down, 4 times up. Prepare to engage on this week's digital audio program that I call Backwards K-Pod, where we collect ball players and their stories. What's cracking, seamheads? What's juicy? Welcome back into the dojo for chapter 162 for the historical, anthological, biographical profiles of the players, characters, moments, and stadiums, and all of the pop culture references that have been sewn and stitched into the DNA and fabric of this beautiful tapestry of life we call baseball. I'm Jake Robinson. I got your hookup. Holler if you hear me. And I will never charge you good brothers and sisters for the baseball content here at Backwards K-Pod. No pay-to-play bonus subscriptions, no Patreon, no Twitch, no tariffs charged to countries outside the borders of the United States looking to import this product onto their majestic shores. Inflation is a global problem, and I will never price gouge this audience. All I ask is that you support our fine sponsors, share with your seamhead buddies, and if the platform you use to listen to BKP offers you the opportunity to rate and review my performance, please do so as you see fit. I ain't scared. I do what I do when I do it. No one does it better. I'm joined in my fortress of potitude with my agent of chaos, the chocolate tabby of tenaciousness, my boy Charlie Guns, little gunner, posting up in the conductor's booth of our BKP time travel scene diesel, sipping on his catnip-infused Earl Grey tea, ready to take us on our way to this week's baseball adventure as we will examine the life and baseball journey of the great Mickey Mantle this week. But before we make our way for this week's audio biopic, there have been some seismic moves in the kitchen this week, so let's take a quick look at the movements around the league in this week's Hot Stove Report here in Week 9 of the 2024-25 MLB offseason. And once again, the world champion Los Angeles Dodgers have proven their resolve to repeat as champions next year as they win the Roki Sasaki sweepstakes for the services of the 23-year-old Japanese phenom. And for the last 2 years, the Dodgers have usually dug into the deep well of financial resources and overwhelmed the competition with huge contracts. But because of the international pool restrictions, they were only able to muster up around $6 million in pool money to offer the right-handed pitcher. Los Angeles was at a huge disadvantage in signing Sasaki And reports suggest that it came down to key conversations with current players, including countryman Shohei Ohtani and Shinobu Yamamoto, and the winning culture surrounding the ball club. In terms of dollar per dollar, both the Padres and Blue Jays held a significant economic advantage over the world champs in pursuit of Sasaki. The Padres told the right-handed pitcher they were prepared to trade and max out their bonus pool cash and then offer the Japanese hurler the entire sum of their bonus pool allotment, which would have been a shade over $10 million. The Blue Jays tried a similar tactic to add to their international pool money, finalizing a trade with the Guardians for $2 million in international bonus pool dollars, even though the trade required them to add what's left of outfielder Miles Straw's $11.8 million contract to their payroll. So even though the champs were outbid, probably by both the Jays and the Friars, they still walked away with the pitcher to add to an already loaded rotation. Last season in the Nippon Professional Baseball League in Japan, Sasaki went 10-5 with a 2.35 ERA, 129 strikeouts to only 32 walks and 111 innings pitched. The youngster has had MLB scouts and evaluators salivating over his potential since he was a teenager, armed with a triple-digit fastball, a knee-buckling splitter, and an ace mindset. Sasaki's posting last month shook up the industry and had virtually every team fantasizing about his addition. So, after adding the best starter available to their B-Stats rotation, the champs went out and signed the best relief arms and southpaw Tanner Scott and Kirby Yates. Scott gets a 4-year deal worth $72 million, and Scott split his time last season with the Marlins and Padres. He made an impression with the front office of the Dodgers with the success against left-handed slugger Shohei Ohtani in the playoffs, facing him 4 times and striking him out in every at-bat. Scott's departure includes a $20 million signing bonus and $20 million in deferred payments, a structure the champs have applied to several deals the past 2 years. With Scott added to the rotation, the Dodgers' luxury tag payroll sits in at the $375 million neighborhood, which is about $70 million more than second place Philadelphia, with the New York Yankees as the only other team with a competitive balanced tax payroll projected to be over $300 million. And the Dodgers brass has put in work this year, scouring the globe for baseball talent. After poaching from Japan and South Korea and Ha-Sung Kim, they again dipped into their strong international presence, signing the first player from the Sudan and right-handed pitcher Joseph Dag. Dag becomes only the second player signed out of Africa after the Pittsburgh Pirates signed infielder Armstrong Mahuzi. The 6'7", 180-pound pitcher is blessed with a fastball that tops out at 95 miles per hour, and he's got a well-regarded splitter in his arsenal. He's a high-ceiling prospect with a long road ahead of him, and the Dodgers are hoping he'll fill out his slender frame and turn that added strength into more fastball velocity. They project him to be a quality pitcher come 2030. So, the world champs have gone all in defense of their crown as the rich get richer. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that the Toronto Blue Jays have signed former Orioles switch-hitting outfielder Anthony Santander to a 5-year, $92.5 million contract, which includes $61.7 million at deferred and includes a player opt-out clause after the 2027 season. The 5 years at the original $92.5 million would be equal to $23.123 million annually, but the deferrals save Toronto more than $9 million a year against the competitive balance tax threshold. So, with Sasaki and Santander's name falling off the big board, all eyes are on Alex Bregman, Peter Alonso, Jack Flaherty, And I don't know. I think the Dodgers have done what high-priced free agency this offseason. I think the Blue Jays are in they're in the mix for other free agents, as reports suggest that team has reached out to Mets first baseman Pete Alonso. So that leaves the other 29 teams in a running for these players that are left. Wherever those guys end up, I'll be here to give you the skinny as we cover the seams here at the LTBPN 24/7, 365. So, with this week's Hot Stove Report in the books, with a big, beautiful backwards K next to it, it's time to get you stragglers here out on the Terrapin Station platform to kiss and hug your loved ones goodbye as I make our final prep of departure for our BKP time travel choo-choo. As I look to the west of Terrapin, I can see directly into the beautifully immaculate Jewel Box Ballpark, right down the left field line, ending at home plate, and our hometown BKP boys have already ran out the dugout to take the field and give their best effort in tonight's contest. Tonight's starting pitcher has completed his warm-up tosses. The catcher has gone down at second with an absolute seed on the bag. The infield is flipping that ball around the diamond with little crisp swag and determination, ready to do work. And the umpire has cleaned up the plate and called play ball. And with this game's about to pop off, that's my cue as usual to get you guys loaded up and begin our journey. I'm calling all aboard, as I will have Gunner set our time and destination this week to October 29th, 1931 for the birth and prominent rise of baseball's history's most prodigious switch hitter, the Commerce Comet, the great Mickey Mantle. So, hurry, step right up. Get in where you fit in. Make yourself at home in a private boxcar or post up in one of our spacious lounges in this modern marvel of engineering and science. Take off your shoes, open your kimonos, make yourself comfortable as Gunner picks up the necessary quantum speeds needed to crack 6.0 gigahertz of RF on our spectral analyzer, which creates these vast anomalous traversable wormholes that will take us safely through interdimensional travel, tipping the celestial scales to our favor to get us back to the Genesis backstory of Mickey Mantle. And whenever I listen to the old-timer speak on Mickey's greatness, there's always this common theme of, well, what could have been attached to his legacy? And so much of Mantle's career has been judged by his longtime manager, Casey Stengel's perception as a moody, self-destructive phenom who never mastered his demons, as my generation of fans have been hit over the head repeatedly by the lamentations about what he could have accomplished instead of what he did accomplish, by a generation of Seamans who saw their own childhood fantasies reflected by his career and their worst nightmares fulfilled by his after-baseball life decline. But the truth is, Mickey is one of the most complete ball players to ever go to war on a baseball diamond. He was a slugger with a terrific batting eye, massive power from both sides of the dish, blinding speed, and superior defensive abilities. He could not only drop tape measuring dong, but he could hit for average, he could bunt with those hands, and no great power hitter in this game's history was better at swiping a key bag or harder to double up. That his life is a cautionary tales on the dangers of success and excess cannot be argued, but in the context as a player, the Mick has earned the right to be remembered for what he was and not for what he might have been, as Derek Jeter is the only Yankee to suit up in the pinstripes for more games than the Mick. Even before his first breaths of life, Mickey Mantle was being prepared for life as a future big league player. His father, Elvin Mutt Mantle, a former semi-pro player and a lifelong seamhead, proclaimed that if his first child turns out to be a boy, he would name him Mickey, in honor of Mickey Cochran, who was the best catcher in the game's history at the time. And here we are, freaks, as Gunner has us ripping through that last reversible wormhole straight into Spabinall, Oklahoma, as we come bearing gifts of frankincense, gold, and myrrh for the birth of a baseball king, Mickey Charles Mantle, on October 20th in the year of our Lord, 1931. Now, what Mutt Mantle didn't know at the time was Cochran's first name was actually Gordon, and Mickey was his nickname. Now, years later, Mickey would opine that, thank God his pops had not known Mickey's real name, and how much he would have hated being named Gordon Mantle. By the time Mickey is 3, the nation is mired in the Great Depression, and like so many able-bodied men at the time, Mutt Mantle is nearly broke and unemployed. The Mantle unit moves to Commerce, Oklahoma, and he finds a job working for the Eagle Pitcher Company, working with lead and zinc mines. The work is exhausting, dirty, dangerous, as those who worked at the plant for years were at high risk for lung disease, heart ailments, and cancer. In fact, cancer had been a grim reaper in the Mantle family, claiming, among others, his uncles, grandfather, and a couple other relatives, all in their 40s or younger. Despite the brutal work schedule, Mutt Mantle still finds time to play baseball on the weekends and teach his son the finer aspects of the game. And among the many lessons Mutt teaches his son is the need to develop as a switch hitter. The forward and progressive baseball philosophy of Mutt made him believe that future managers would embrace a platoon system where right-handed hitters would only face southpaws and vice versa. Mickey was a natural right-handed hitter, and he really had no interest in learning to hit off the left foot, but his father continues him to press on, and Mickey relents. Mickey used to remember how his dad would pitch right-handed to him, and his grandfather would pitch left to him at batting practice. And this is before a T-ball or Little League has been established in the country, so Mickey hones his skills on the Commerce sandlots with his friends. And they would play almost every day after school, and on the weekends, they would scrimmage a local semi-pro squad. The games are strictly amateur, although you would never really know it by the size of the crowds, as the stands would routinely be packed with mostly the minors in the town and their families. As a kid, Mickey develops a love for football as well, but an injury in his freshman year at high school would end his budding Pigskin career when he is inadvertently kicked in the lower leg by a teammate. Within hours, the ankle swells to 3 times its natural size, and it develops a 104-degree fever. His parents take their 14-year-old son to the local hospital, where he is diagnosed with osteomyelitis, a potentially fatal bone disease that had been aggravated by the injury. And Mickey listens in horror as the doctor recommends to Mantle's parents that they need to amputate the leg to save young Mickey's life. Thankfully, Mickey parents, they seek out a second opinion at the Crippled Children's Hospital in Oklahoma City, and doctors there agree with the osteomyelitis diagnosis, but they have a much less dramatic treatment plan in mind. Mickey receives 8 shots in a day of a new wonder drug called penicillin, and within a week, the swelling in Mickey's ankle dissipates, and his son soon thereafter begins to play sports again. His football career is over, but really, his baseball life is just beginning. At the age of 15, Mickey is playing semi-pro ball with the Baxter Springs Whiz Kids, a local team comprised of minors, former high school stars, and a few minor leaguers, on the team. And one day late in the 1948 season, New York Yankees scout Tom Greenway comes out to Baxter Springs to scout one of Mickey's teammates and third baseman Billy Johnson. His focus quickly turns to the 16-year-old shortstop who had 2 long home runs in that game, one right-handed, one left-handed, with both bombs landing in the creek well beyond the outfield fence. And after the game, Greenway approaches young Mickey and asks him point blank, "How would you like to play for the Yankees?" Now, Mickey and his father are stunned by the offer, but they soon become excited about the prospects of playing for the New York Yankees. Greenway explains to Mantle that because Mickey's only 16 years old, he would have to wait till he graduates high school before New York could sign him. And sure enough, when Mickey graduates the following spring, good to his word, Greenway offers the Mick a contract to play for the Yankees Class D minor league team in Independence, Kansas, receiving a $1,000 signing bonus and a salary of $400 monthly for the rest of the season. Now, $1,000 in 1949 is akin to a $13,260 signing bonus, and in the 2025 context, and $400 a month has a purchasing power of $5,300 in 2025. In 1949, he blows up Class D pitching, finishes with the .315 average, and after the season, Mickey returned home to Converse and works with his father in the zinc and lead mines. One weekend, he meets a high school senior named Merlin Johnson, and the two began dating regularly. Mickey gets his first taste of the major leagues when the Yankees call him up on September 17th, 1950, and even though he rides the bench for the remaining few games of the season, the 18-year-old nevertheless traveled with the team and takes batting practice with the team. And he observes the likes of Joe DiMaggio, Yogi Berra, Skirtle Rizzuto from afar as the Bombers are embroiled in a tight pennant race with the Detroit Tigers and the Boston Red Sox. When Mantle arrives for spring training in 1951, clubhouse manager Pete Sheehy hands him uniform number 6, with the implication being that Mantle was expected to be the next great Yankee star and therefore succeed Roos number 3, Guerin's number 4, and DiMaggio's number 5. Yankees public relations director Rod Patterson called it the mathematical progression of things. But Mantle is not a fan of the number nor the implications and expectations it raises. Joe DiMaggio would increase the heat on May 1st, 1951, when he announces that this will be the last season playing Major League Baseball. The next day, manager Casey Stengel announces that Mantle would be Joey D's successor and center, despite the heavy expectations thrust upon him with the announcement. Mantle flourishes in spring training, dropping prodigious dong in batting practice and leaving all of his teammates in the dust during running drills. And Stengel is amazed by the exploits of his 19-year-old phenom. He saw the future of the Yankees, and even though the kid had yet to face Major League pitching, he's saying he has more speed than any slugger who has ever played the game and more slug than any speedster. Nobody has ever had more of both of them together, and quite frankly, this kid ain't logical. He's too good, and it's very, very confusing. Mantle plays in his first Major League game on April 17, 1951 at Yankee Stadium against the rival Boston Red Sox. And even though he starts the season well, a strong April and May are followed by a slump in June and July, prompting Stengel to demote the kid back to the farm for more seasoning, telling him, "It's not the end of the world, Mick. In a couple weeks, you'll start hitting again, and then I'll bring you up. I promise." The decision had crushed the youngster. 3 months earlier, he was being hailed as the next Ruth, Garrett, or DiMaggio, And now he's back on the farm, toiling for the Yankees Class A affiliate in Kansas City. And things would only get worse as he picks up 3 hits in his first 18 at-bats, with one of those hits being a bunt single. The young Mantle is lonely and despondent, believing that he had missed his chance to play in the Bronx. He reaches out to his father, hoping for a little paternal support, and tells Mutt over the phone that he just can't compete and he wants to come home. Mutt hangs up the phone and drives from Commerce to Kansas City, where he confronts his son in his hotel room. And Mickey, through tearful eyes, he tells his father he had tried his best, but he had lost his confidence and was ready to return home to the lead and zinc mines of Commerce, Oklahoma. And Mutt has had it. He lays into his son, telling him to quit his fucking crying, and he has no patience with listening to his son's whining, saying, "I thought I raised a man. You're acting like a goddamn coward." All the while, he is packing Mickey's suitcase, preparing to take him on a long ride home. And Mickey was saying it was as though Mutt had leveled a double-barrel shotgun to his heart, and when the time came to leave, Mickey, through his ears, grabs his suitcase from his father and tells him that he will give it another try. The incident would light a fire under Mantle, who goes off for the next month. By late August, after playing 40 games in Kansas City, Mantle's batting .361 with 11 home runs and 60 RBIs, and he's recalled by the New York Yankees. Upon his return, he is assigned the uniform number 7, which he would wear for the rest of his 18-year career. In the final 27 games of the Yankee season, Mantle hits .284 with 6 home runs and 20 RBI. Now, the Yankees clinched the American League pennant, and on September 28th, they faced the crosstown rivals New York Giants in the Fall Classic. In the 5th inning of Game 2, Giants rookie Willie Mays hits a fly ball towards right center field between Mickey and DiMaggio. Mantle sprints towards the ball, as does DiMaggio, each looking up as they appear headed for a certain collision. And just before Mantle reaches the spot, he hears Joe call out for the ball. So Mantle steps short on a dead sprint, and in doing so, he catches spikes on the rubber cover of a drainage pipe in the outfield, and he collapses from the ground. Fans and players who saw Mickey collapse from a distance thought the young outfielder had been shot by a sniper in the stands. Writhing on the ground in pain, he is comforted by the usually cold and aloof DiMaggio, and trainers rush to the outfield and carry Mantle on the field on a stretcher amid the eerie silence of the stunned fans. And after the incident, Mickey and his father Mutt are outside of Yankee Stadium preparing to get inside of a New York City taxi cab en route to the hospital. Mickey goes to lean on his father as he enters the cab, and Mutt collapses under the weight of his son. Father and son are rushed to the hospital together, and they're given side-by-side hospital beds in the same room. Mickey has torn ligaments in his leg and needed surgery. Mutt was diagnosed with Hodgkin's disease, and the two watched the World Series together from adjacent hospital beds. Mantle has a successful surgery and is sent home to heal, while his father is given a grim prognosis and sent home to die at 39 years old. And Mickey always called it the Mantle's curse. Cancer had claimed his grandfather and 2 of his uncles well before their time, and now the curse had gained another victim in his father. And Mickey always told friends and loved ones that he expected to die early in life, and this belief haunted him throughout his mortal course, and was probably among the many pressures that led to much of his self-destructive behaviors in his lifetime. But all is not doom and gloom that year, as he marries Marilyn on December 23rd in Commerce at the age of 20. The young Mickey had grown quite a bit in 1951, from a teenage phenom to a rookie bust to the World Series injury to his father's terminal illness to life as a husband. In 1952, with the still developing game, Mickey improves to a .311 batting average with 23 big flies, 87 ribs. The dynastic Yankees win the 4th straight American League pennant and beat the Brooklyn Dodgers in yet another memorable World Series. In the Fall Classic, Mickey would smash 2 monstrous dogs, and Jackie Robinson often gave Mickey the credit for winning that ship that year. Back in those days, before instant replay, electronic measuring devices, and landmark distances carved into the outfield concourse, no player's home runs since Saint's roof generated more stories, controversy, myth, and legend than those hit by Mickey Charles Mantle. The over-the-top stories go all the way back to when scout Tom Queenway discovered him on an Oklahoma sandlot in 1948. Mickey's most prolific shot, by his own admission at this time, comes in his 3rd season, April 17, 1953, off of pitcher Chuck Stobbs on the Washington Senators at Griffith Stadium in the district. Now, I have a show prep for a profile on Griffith Stadium yet to come, but to give you guys a contextual view of the ballpark's layout, it was decidedly a pitcher-friendly stadium. The left field foul ball was 405 feet down the line. Behind that wall was a grandstand that extended another 65 feet until it reached a massive sign advertising National Bohemia Beer, which prominently featured the one-eyed mustache face of Mr. Bo, the official mascot of Natty Bo Beer. Batting right-handed, Mickey drives Stobbs' second pitch high and long, as well as sound-breakingly fast out to left field. The ball easily clears the left center field fence and blows past the 55-foot high Natty Bo advertisement, clipping off a piece of Mr. Bo's mustache and continuing his flight over the rooftops of houses across neighboring Fifth Street. And it lands between 540 and 565 feet from home plate. In addition to his vulgar display of power, Mickey continues to develop in all aspects of his play. In 1953, he ends the campaign with a .295 average, 21 home runs, 92 RBIs, and 105 runs scored. And at just 21 years old, Mickey had already established himself as a key element of a historic team that captured its 5th straight American League pennant, which at this time was a new Major League record, surpassing the Yankees from 1936 through 1939 and the New York Giants from 1921 to 1924. In the National League, the Brooklyn Dodgers won their 2nd straight league pennant, which set up the 4th Yankees-Dodgers World Series in 7 years, and once again, the Yankees would dispatch Brooklyn in the Fall Classic. This time in 6 games, and overall, Mickey hits only 208 in the series, but does homer twice, including a grand slam in Game 5. In 1954, Mantle hits 300 with 27 dongs, 102 ribs, and a league-leading 129 runs scored. The Yankees would win 103 games, but they couldn't keep pace with the Cleveland Indians, who won an AL record at that time, 111 games. The Yankees bounced back and win the pennant in 1955 to once again face the Brooklyn Dodgers for the chip, and this time, though, the Dodgers will prevail in 7 games, as Mantle is limited to only 3 games in the series, played by a pulled hamstring. He homered in Game 3 of the series, but other than that, he was ineffective, finishing the Classic with a pedestrian 200 average. And despite the disappointing end to the hard-fought season, the tight-fisted Yankees GM George Weiss earmarks a raise from $170,000 to $17,000 to $33,000, which is worth about $339,000 in the 2025 economy. Mickey rewards the club by winning the 1956 Triple Crown, leading the AL with 353 average, 52 bombs, 130 rib sandwiches, and 132 runs scored, winning league MVP honors. And the Yankees would defeat their rivals in a World Series highlighted by Don Larson's perfect game. Mantle melts 3 home runs in a series, driving in 4 and scoring 6 times. Despite the always present nagging injuries, Mantle continues to dominate the next 4 years, winning a second MVP award in 1957, another home run title, and 2 more pennants. After a disappointing third-place finish in 1959, the Yankees bolster their offense by acquiring Roger Maris from the Kansas City A's. The Yankees see Maris as a left-handed pull hitter, tailor-made for Yankee Stadium with its 296-foot right field dimensions and overhanging roof. With Mantle and Maris joined at the hip in the lineup, the Yankees were back to win the AL pennant in 1960. Mantle leads the league with 40 home runs, 119 runs scored, but he finishes second to Maris in the closest MVP battle in baseball history. Mantle has an outstanding World Series, batting .400 with 3 home runs and 11 RBIs, but the Yankees would be upset by the Pittsburgh Pirates, but the final nail in the coffin being a dramatic walk-off home run coming off the bat of Pirates second baseman Bill Mazeroski in Game 7. And Mantle is devastated by the loss, explaining in his autobiography the sick feeling he had in the pit of his stomach as left fielder Yogi Berra's face he saw when he turned around after watching him play the ball was awash with grim acceptance of the moments, and accompanied by a slow shrug of the shoulders, and said it all. In the locker room, all of us were wandering around in a trance. I slept onto a stool, feeling so low I could barely muster the will to take off my uniform. And all of my World Series experiences, it was the only time I really felt like the better team had lost. And folks, with the stunning upset of the 1960 World Series against the Pittsburgh Pirates, I think I'm going to take a break right here. When we return with a nasty taste of defeat in their mouths, Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle are highly motivated to win another championship for the Yankees, and they will embark on a historic home run chase of the great Bambino and his famous single mark of 60 home runs set back in 1927. When we return, we'll pick up the Mickey Mantle story going into that incredible 1961 season and beyond. BRB Cements, meet me on the dark side of the moon.
Feeling unknown and you're all alone, flesh and bone by the telephone. Lift up the receiver, I'll make you a believer. Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Jackie Robinson, 13 home runs to the left field stand.
Here comes Roger Maris. There's a new home run champion of all time. I don't believe what I just saw. Cal Ripken Jr. has reached the unreachable star.
This crowd on its feet and in unison.
This one has a chance.
Welcome to the first night of MLB Network.
Number 600 for Jim Tony. That ball is gone.
106. That would be a new record.
It is caught. Oh, what a catch by Mike Trout. The Cubs have finally won it all. The Atlanta Braves are world champions.
He's grounded the short. He's walked. He's doubled the right. The big Yankee crowd roaring now for some action. There's a high drive. It's a deep right. And forget about it. It is gone. The ball game's over.
y'all. This is Big Tex Gage Gein, executive producer of Backwards K Pod. In Texas, we do everything big. After football and golf, there's probably nothing I love more than going fishing and enjoying a good crawfish boil. The only thing I dislike about going fishing is the lingering odor it can leave on your hands afterwards. Well, the Fish and Hand Cleaner is an all-natural liquid soap perfect for overpowering fish and bait odors from your hands. I can't tell you how many times I've eaten steamed crabs, lobster, shrimp, crawfish, and then washed my hands with regular soap, only to touch my eyes half hour later, and my face begins to melt off due to the damn Cajun Old Bay spices. Well, we also have a hand cleaner specifically formulated to use after eating shellfish and other seafoods. Perfect for cleaning spicy, smelly hands after a Texas-sized seafood feast. In these cases, don't settle for anything less than our crawfish hand cleaner, our crab hand cleaner, or the fishing hand cleaner. An ingenious trifecta of natural hand soaps developed and owned by a disabled Navy veteran. He and Jake have a true connection, as they were boot camp shipmates all the way back in 1989. So he is family, folks, and one thing we do here at the Let's Talk Baseball Podcast Network is look out for family. So you can support two grassroots companies by two former shipmate Navy vets. Crushing big bowls of shellfish or fishing on the banks of your favorite river while you listen to BKP. Sounds like a great day. You know, in fact, hey Mom, where are my poles? I'm gone fishing. There is also a buffalo wing hand cleaner in development as we speak. To check all of the incredible products of this great company, you can go to www.crawfishhandcleaner.com or call the home offices at 713-588-0290. That's 713-588-0290 to support the grassroots company that supports your grassroots podcast show. That's crawfishhandcleaner.com or 713-588-0290 to prepare for your summertime shellfish feast or that fishing trip you're planning. crawfishhandcleaner.com.
Did you meet Mantle?
At a spring training game in 1966, I went over and got his autograph.
Because you're both from Oklahoma.
Yeah, and he was it. He was Mickey Mantle. That's what inspired me when I was 3 years old to hear Mickey Mantle batting. And I said, you can be from Oklahoma and play in the major leagues? I was asking my dad. And that's how I did it. And then he came to my, I had a golf tournament at the Hart Fund Invitational in Tampa, and he came to the tournament. And I had pictures on my wall of him pitching pennies with my dad outside of the Ramada Inn. And that night, Mickey comes up to me. I'm over there, and he said, hey, John, let's go have a drink. Mickey's asking me to go have a drink because right across the street is the Marriott. And it's a disco. You know, we got those back in those days, it's disco. They got the glass balls and everything else. I said, sure. So we walk across the street to the Marriott, and we walk up to the door of the disco, and a big bouncer's there and says, John, you can come in, but we've already kicked out Mickey.
He was using you to get in.
Soldier Boy Chuck. Hey, I got this new band for y'all called the Soldier Boy. Just got a punch, then crank back 3 times from left to right.
Keep chasing that same old devil down the same old dead end highway. That storm running through my veins like a shot down tailspin airplane. Scared of living and I'm scared to death. I can't breathe and I catch my breath. So I keep chasing that same old devil down the same old dead end highway. Ain't no love in Oklahoma.
Okay, nerds. Welcome back to the Let's Talk Baseball Podcast Network. And this is Backwards K-Pod, where we collect ball players and their stories. And before the break, I was pontificating the seams with a profile on the life of the baseball journey of the irrepressible Mickey Charles Mantle. And when I left off, Mickey was in center field watching the dramatic walk-off championship-winning home run by Pirates second baseman Bill Rossi float over the left field wall of Forest Field in Game 7 of the 1960 World Series. Going into the 1961 season, the Yankees are chomping at the bit, ready to avenge their World Series loss and regain their Major League dominance. The season would be highlighted by a historic chase of the home run record of 60 set by Babe Ruth in 1927. During the summer of the historic home run chase, Mickey was the media darling and the favorite to win the race, as most New York sports writers considered Mantle the real Yankee player. A player who was worthy of the record, while Maris was often portrayed by the same media as sullen and surly, an interloper who had come into town was trying to steal the crown from the rightful heir to the rightful heir apparent to the Babe. And the two ran neck and neck all season like Ayrton Senna and Al Prost. And on September 10th, with 18 games remaining, Maris has 56 home runs and Mantle is right there with 53. But the highly anticipated final race disintegrates when Mantle, who was struggling through a severe muscle stiffness and soreness for weeks, develops a nasty cold, sapping the slugger of his strength and energy, knocking him out of the 4 games from September 19th to September 22nd. He returns to action on September 23rd, and his first at bat, he swats a dinger off a Red Sox pitcher, Don Schwall, for home run number 54, but the next day he goes 0 for 3 before being removed from the game with his persisting illness. Resigned to the fact that he is officially out of the home run chase, Mickey begins to fear that his lingering illness will knock him out of the upcoming World Series. On the advice of a friend, Mickey goes to see a doctor who injected him with what Mantle called a vitamin shot. The next morning, Mantle awakens to pain he would describe as a hot poker being jammed into his hip. He takes to Lenox Hill Hospital, where the doctors lance and drain the infected wound. The removal and damage of the infection would leave a hole the size of a golf ball in his hip. Overall, Mantle missed 10 of the Yankees' final 12 games, and he finishes with 54 home runs, and would be Roger Maris pushing forward and continuing his home run surge, hitting the record-breaking number 61 at the Yankees' last game of the season, with Mickey watching the historic blast from his hospital bed. Doctors would release Mickey from the hospital on October 2nd, but he only plays in 2 games in the World Series against the Cincinnati Reds. But it doesn't matter, as the Yankees will capture the chip in 5 games. Although Mantle missed 39 games in 1962, he still manages to clobber 30 home runs and 89 RBIs, finishes second in AL batting with 321 batting average, winning his 3rd MVP award. The Yankees beat the San Francisco Giants in 7 games during the 1962 World Series. The Yankees reward Mantle with a $100,000 contract, making him only the 5th player after Ted Williams, Joe DiMaggio, Stan Musial, and Willie Mays to crack the 6 digits on the yearly earnings. $100,000 in 1962, and has the purchasing power of around $1.0545 million in the 2025 economy. Mantle begins the 1963 season just as he left off in 1962, heading for average and power. After 36 games, he was batting .310 with 11 home runs and 26 RBIs. One of those 11 home runs came on May 22nd at Old Yankee Stadium against the Kansas City A's. The A's are at Bombers. They're locked in a 7-7 tie going into the bottom of the 11th inning. batting left-handed, Mantle hammers a Bill Fisher fastball and bangs off the facade on the right field roof of Old Yankee Stadium, just 2 feet from clearing the roof to clear Yankee Stadium. And Mickey has said it was the furthest ball he ever hit, and it was one of the few home runs that he hit where he admired the trajectory and wondered to himself if that ball is going to go out. For years, pundits, eyewitnesses, scientists, and charlatans have debated just how far that ball would have gone if it didn't hit that facade, with estimates varying from anywhere from 474 feet to 734. On June 5th, 1963, injuries again reared their ugly head on Mickey's career in a game against the Orioles at Memorial Stadium. Brooks Robinson hits a shot over Mickey Mantle's head. Mickey drops his head and chases after the flight of the ball before he runs out of real estate, jumping and crashing into the chain link fence as the ball sails over the wall for a home run. In the process, Mickey had hooked his cleats into the chain link fence, and as his body hits the fence, it caused the front part of his foot to bend violently up and back. And the aftermath of the gruesome injury saw Mickey break a bone in his foot and is fitted with a knee-high plaster cast, which would imprison him to the disabled list, and he would miss 61 games. All in all, Mantle played 65 games in 1963, hitting .314 with .441 OBP and slugging percentage of .622. Another truncated season probably didn't make the Yankees brass too happy, but Mickey still has the star power. He's the most popular player on the team leader, and the face of the franchise, all of which earns him another $100,000 contract for the 1964 season. The Mantle investment pays dividends in 1964 as the Mick stays relatively healthy all season, and he finishes with 3-3 batting average, 35 dogs, 111 ribs, and a league-leading OBP of .423. The Yankees will win the 5th straight pennant, but lose to the St. Louis Cardinals in a 7-game World Series. By the end of the 1964 season, Mickey is now 33 years old, which isn't really old for a Major League ball player. And even though Mantle has been often injured and fragile throughout his career, he was coming off a great year and an even better World Series. But the 1965 season would not be kind to Mickey. The year of injuries, late nights, and excessive alcohol consumption had taken a toll, and he began to age before his time. He batted a mere .255 a year, and the Yankees finished in 6th place in the American League for the worst finish in 40 years. Describing this period in his career, Mickey would wistfully lament that with all the injuries coupled with the deteriorating legs, no doubt I could have called in sick and stayed away from the ballpark. Yet somehow I picked myself up one more time, thinking by some miracle it would all come back. No more wobbly knees, no more sore shoulders, no aches and pains anywhere. Foolish, I know, but that's what it was. And so, Mantle plays on, his numbers steadily declining over the next 2 years and dipping to an anemic .237 in 1968, with his career average dropping below 300 for the first time, which was once unthinkable for the great Mickey Mantle. But there are some highlights in those 2 seasons. On May 14, 1967, Mickey launches a 500th career home run off of Stu Miller at Yankee Stadium versus the Orioles. He's tied with Jimmy Fox for 4th place with 534 dogs when he faces Tigers hurler Denny McClain at Tiger Stadium on September 19, 1968. Now, the Tigers had already clinched the AL pennant 2 days earlier, and they were leading the Yankees 6-1 at the top of the 8th when Mickey walks to the plate. McClain, who had won 31 games that year and had the AL Cy Young virtually in his possession, he calls his catcher to the mound, and he tells him, "Look, Mickey only needs one more home run. Let's give him a shot at it." Then he gives him 2 batting practice fastball. Mickey takes the first one and fouls off the second pitch, and McLean yells for the runs. "Oh, hell, Mickey, where do you want it?" To which Mickey swings his lumber, showing where he likes it. McLean hurls another meatball in Mickey's happy zone, and he smacks it in the right field stands. And as he rounds the bases, the sparse crowd of around 9,000 people stand to their feet and applaud the Mick. McLean remembers that almost every player to a man had tears in their eyes, and he would later say that Mickey represented the game of the 1960s right up to the day he retired. Mickey plays his last game at Yankee Stadium on September 25th, 1968. 3 days later, he would call his final career game. He would play his final career game. On March 1st, 1969, exactly 18 years after Joe DiMaggio had announced that 1951 would be his last season, Mantle announced his retirement from the game on June 8th. And the Yankees hold Mickey Mantle Day at Yankee Stadium, where 70,000 Yankee fans crashed the turnstile to watch the clubs retire his storied number 7. On January 16, 1974, Mickey's baseball journey comes full circle as he's elected to the National Baseball Hall of Fame with 88.2% of the vote. On August 12, 1974, he is inducted to the Hall with his friend and former teammate, Whitey Ford. Mickey was a ball player through and through, born and bred to compete at a high level from pretty much the time of birth, and he struggles to find a new rewarding career after retiring from baseball. He served as a first-base coach for the Yankees in 1970, but he quickly abandons that endeavor. He invested in a hotel and restaurant chain, both of which would eventually go belly up. In 1983, he is given a job in public relations with the Clarence Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City, and shortly after the press conference announcing his position with the Hotel and Casino, Commissioner Bowie Kuhn bans Mantle from baseball because of his involvement with the gaming establishment, a punishment he had already leveled on Giants icon Willie Mays, who had also worked for a casino in Atlantic City. In 1984, when Uberoth succeeds Kuhn, his first official act as the game's new commissioner is to reinstate both Willie and Mickey. In the mid-1980s, Mantle becomes a prime beneficiary of the exploding market of baseball memorabilia as collectors and baseball fans began forking over huge sums of cash for signed balls, bats, uniforms, and other artifacts. Player signatures had become a hot commodity, and none were more sought after than Mickey's. He attended card shows and was paid better than most of his contemporaries, and he never forgot his former teammates, either bringing them along with him to Shining Stones, where the likes of Moose Scowron and Phil Lynch would sign autographs and make money simply by sitting next to Mickey. After years of struggling financially, Mantle becomes a rich man through the memorabilia industry, and he would eventually make more money signing baseballs than he ever did hitting them out of the ballpark. In 1988, he opens Mickey Mantle's restaurant in Central Park South in New York City, and after several failed business ventures, Mickey finally hits a home run, and the restaurant would have a successful 25-year run until 2012. It's no secret that Mantle abused alcohol from his earliest days in the Yankees farm to almost the end of his life, and many of those old drinking stories, they're in other bios, but honestly, I chose to stay away from those. Suffice it to say, Mickey was an alcoholic for all of his adult life, and his hard drinking ways eventually caught up with him. In 1993, at the urging of friend and former NFL football player Pat Summerall, Mickey checks into the Bennett Ford Clinic in Los Angeles, California to seek treatment. After he emerges from the clinic sober, he made a number of public service announcements denouncing the dangers of alcoholism. He travels the country spreading his message and would often say that if it wasn't for alcohol, we would have been a better player and a better man. feel-good tour doesn't last long, however. On June 7, 1994, Mantle is diagnosed with hepatitis, cirrhosis of the liver, and liver cancer, reaffirming the fear he had always carried with him that he, too, would eventually become a victim of cancer. It was the reason he routinely admitted for his life of self-destructive behavior, as his drinking was a defense mechanism for his escapist behavior from the fear of early death that ironically would set the stage for his eventual death. On May 28, 1995, Mantle was admitted into the Baylor Hospital with severe stomach pain, and his liver was ruined. He would need a transplant, which he receives on June 8th, and during the surgery, however, doctors discover that the cancer had spread throughout his body. The transplant was deemed a success, but Mickey, nevertheless, is given the death sentence. 2 months later, August 13, 1995, Mickey Charles Mantle dies at the age of 63. His old teammates line up in the hospital to say their tearful goodbyes, which Mickey greatly appreciated, being surrounded by the fellas that shaped his life and legacy. The boys will reunite at Lover's Lane Methodist Church in Dallas, Texas for the funeral, with Yogi Berra, Whitey Ford, Bobby Mercer, and Hank Bauer serving as pallbearers, carrying Mantle's body to his final resting place at Sparkman Hillcrest Memorial Park Cemetery. And check it out, nerds. I think this is where I'm calling it. Another body drops into a collection of ball players and their story. And I hope you enjoyed this week's presentation of the Mickey Mantle bio. I'll be up bright and early tomorrow morning, working up a deep sweat with a bullpen session, ready to make my next start in a rotation with more stories about the national pastime. And I promise, good brothers and sisters, I'll try to be better next week. While Gunner has us racing up the tracks, feverishly trying to get your freaks back to your loved ones, patiently awaiting your turn to Terrapin Station, let's take one last look at those so impressive Hall of Fame Major League stats that the great Mickey Mantle left behind in his wake. Mickey Charles Mantle, a.k.a. the Mick, a.k.a. the Commerce Comet, a.k.a. Muscles Mantle. Born October 20th, 1931 in Spavinaw, Oklahoma. Died August 13th, 1995 in Dallas, Texas, and is buried at Sparkman Hillcrest Memorial Park in Dallas, Texas. Attended Commerce High School in Commerce, Oklahoma, and signs a contract with the New York Yankees in 1949. On April 17, 1951, the 19-year-old Mickey Mantle becomes the 10,768th man in the history of the planet Earth to join the MLB fraternity when he makes his big league debut against the Red Sox, going 1 for 4. His career WAR of 110.2 is the 21st wins above replacement in the history of the game, and it finds him sandwiched between Hall of Famers Bill Ott at number 20 and pitcher Tom Seaver at 22. And he led the American League in wins above replacement 6 seasons in his career. 2,401 games played, 9,910 plate appearances, 1,676 runs scored, the 30th most in games long history, 2,414 career hits, 344 doubles, 72 triples, his 536 home runs are the 18th most in baseball history and the most ever hit by a switch hitter. 1,509 RBIs, 153 stolen bases, 38 times caught, 1,710 strikeouts to 1,753 walks. 4,511 total bases, the 49th most in baseball history. A 298, 471, 557 slash, a 977 OPS, and a 172 OPS plus. 3-time AL MVP, 1956, 1957, 1962, 20 All-Star selections, 1962 Gold Glove winner, 7-time World Series champion, 1956 batting champion, 1956 Triple Crown, 1956 Major League Player of the Year, and his 18 World Series home runs are the most ever hit by a player in the Fall Classic. In 1974, he receives 88.2% of the vote from the Baseball Writers of America to earn induction into the National Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, seaheads of all ages, this has been the story of the Commerce Comet, the great Mickey Mantle. And once again, I want to thank you, good brothers and sisters, for stopping through this week and reliving the baseball path of the great Mickey Mantle. And like I tell you every week, I will never charge you for the baseball content offered up here at BKP. I'm just going to keep coming through every week with that free baseball smoke.
You don't want that smoke.
And I'm going to keep it consistent like Jim Palmer. I can see that Mickey Mantle story in the rearview mirrors getting smaller and smaller. So with that, I turn our attention to I Never Say Die Baseball Hydra. I reach under my kimono, grab my katana blade, and I chop the head off that beast, only to see 2 new baseball topics appear in their place. Next week, we're going to dive into the life of one of baseball's greatest team leaders to ever live, the Mahatma of the Pittsburgh Pirates during the 1960s and 70s, the one and only Pops, Willie Stargell. But look, ain't nothing changed. Y'all know the deal. That's another story for another pod here at Backwards K Pod, where we collect ball players and their stories. Parents, if you see your kids sitting on the couch, they got their noses in their phone, they're looking bored and unproductive AF, by all means, grab a couple of balls and a glove and take them outside for a game of catch. Thank y'all for coming out. God bless and win the day. And like my boy Shea Hillenbrand said in our sparring session in the dojo a few years back, you go to hell, Andy Pettit. Me and my boy Charlie Guns, we go to our Gunnar Henderson's high in the sky, y'all. That's our number 2s. As in peace. Willie Stargell next week should be a banger. Can't wait. I love you guys. See ya.